Previously on Let's Do This.
My name is Shakid Benjamin. I am the founder and CEO of Red Rocket Records. We are a production company and management agency.
I'm not sure we have the scale for this.
You have a lot of potential. I like your presentation. I like the name of the company.
Investors have their own preferences when it comes to their investment portfolio, what they will back.
I'll have to opt out of this opportunity.
I also have to opt out.
There will be few investors, if any, who will put their money behind entrepreneurs who are in industries that they have little knowledge about.
Well, they told me to shred, but it was advice that I'm definitely going to use.
Four savvy business owners ready to make a pragmatic investment. 7 hopeful entrepreneurs in search of the finances necessary to take their ideas to the next level. Who will invest and who will be sent home with nothing? What will it take to grab the attention of someone with the power to make your dream come true? I am your host, Kevin Hope. Let's do this. On this episode of Let's Do This, meet Deandra Herbert, the owner of Tough, a business that creates unique fabric merchandise through the primary needlework technique of tufting.
So my name is Deandra Herbert. I'm 27 years old. I'm starting the company Tough. It's a creative, expressive business where we focus mainly on creating warm fabric garments through the process of tufting.
DeAndre has a very calm, steady demeanor, which might hide the true value of what he has to offer.
Yes, definitely my first pitch presentation. Do I know what I'm going into? No. Am I willing to go into it? Definitely. In all honesty, what I'm looking forward to from pitch is the learning experience, but mainly to get approved and get the funding needed. The funding will allow me to actually start the business, will allow me to get my foot into the door and just build a more solid foundation and gradually grow and increase in the business and expand accordingly.
Tough is really an interesting, artistic, yet home decor, yet lifestyle brand, all of these things in one.
I think the Ministry of Entertainment, for even existing in the first place, is an awesome opportunity for both young upcoming entrepreneurs, persons who are already established in business. I feel it's finally giving an avenue for us to be able to ask the certain questions we've always wanted to ask, and actually being able to be provided with answers and help and guidelines to actually allow us to achieve our goals. It's not something you see happening every day in St. Kitts. So originally, since I was a young one, I've always been passionate in the field of arts and just always having some type of avenue or realm that I'm able to just get away and create all my various works, all my various pieces, all my masterpieces. So after doing a lot of research on it, I finally realized that, hey, this is the way I would love my artwork to speak to its consumer, speak to its viewer, being something not only relatable by just imagery and being able to view, but also something that you can finally touch, something that can have a sense of depth to it. It's been an idea, in all honesty, it came in the pandemic as I was using that time to rekindle my passion for art, and just being able, going through such a tough time as the pandemic when it first started, finally having an outlet that I was able to just direct all that energy and focus into. That's how I learned to just find a new passion in Tufted. One of the major setbacks I've always faced in terms of starting the business has always been financing, which is why I'm hoping here at this Let's Do It show that I'll be able to captivate the audience or the initial investors, and hoping that they can feel and experience the passion that I have, and we can actually start something together. Currently, seeing that I'm up next to pitch, I'm actually very nervous, but I'm not sure the saying go, but it's always something along the lines, if you're feeling nervous about something, then that's a good sign, because you actually genuinely care about it and actually care about the outcome of it. So I'm just going to go and put my best foot forward.
The pitch room, where a panel of seasoned investors can take one's future to new heights. Will their pitches appeal to the panel and go on to soar above the clouds? Or will they remain in the sea of endless dreams? These are our investors. Daniel Arterton, an experienced business consultant and farmer at the Nevis Hydro Gardens. Cashman Hope, an energetic business sales manager at the Cable. Giselle Matthews, a pioneer in her own right and the owner and managing director of the Harper's Business Depot. Amir Sabnani, the no-nonsense general manager of Rams Trading Limited.
Hi, good night everyone.
Yeah, man.
My name is DeAndre Herbert, and it brings me great pleasure to present to you Tough.
Good night.
Now, Tough is a creative brand that we use to express our personality, our passion, and our creativity through the use of fabric goods that can be worn and used every day in our life. It's something that we're trying to represent and go beyond just the realm of age, race, gender, and just connecting to each other with our unique souls and just our passion for love. Now, one of the problems we face today in the rug industry is majority of the items that we have available to us in St. Kitts are only limited to what's there, what's bought in wholesale. So there's no creativity, there's no sense of value to customer. Everything is just, this is what I have available and you're capable of purchasing this now. With the products I'm trying to bring, it would be tufted rugs, tufted pillows, fabric garments, and tufted patches. It allows us to share culture, because one of the main things, just from the example, this is a clear example of a tufted rug. You'll never find anything like this just pre-ready and available. This might be a little something more outlandish from the everyday consumer, but think about it for your own selves. It's very limitless. These are some examples of what will come with Tough. We have the tufted rugs. This is a floor rug. We are also capable of creating ones that are for walls, finishes. So, for example, I'm capable of putting a Let's Do It logo on the wall as opposed to your general posters or banners. Now it's something you can touch and feel. Now it's something that brings a little more value to the room. It's something you don't just pass along your way. You have to stop and stare to understand. For the patches, it can be applied to your bags, any jackets you may have, almost any and every fabric. Now in the business model, we maintain taking 30% from our sales. So on average, most of our products are based between the range no lower than $77. And with that at 30%, we make $27. Now, over the span of 2 years, our goal is to reach annually $135,000 in sales. This is, if we're saying we're getting around 5,000 customers yearly. The total addressable market is $500 $240,000. The serviceable available market will be $270,000, and the obtainable market will be $135,000, like previously explained. We're planning on targeting tourism hard because we're going to utilize stuff to allow us to actually promote the history and culture of St. Kitts. It's no longer going to just be you're coming to St. Kitts and you get to take a picture of the circus clock, or you get to visit inside of the circus, or inside of the square, or you get to go to Brimstone Hill. You're not going to be able to have a tufted cannon that you can put up onto your wall. You're not going to be able to have that circus clock, whether you want it as a patch to have attached to your lucky suitcase, or onto your lucky jacket, or whatever you're trying to take that home with. Is something you can now bring home to your family and say, hey, this is what we have. For the financials, this was just over the span of 3 years, from starting currently, if we started in September 2022 until 2024. From September, we're estimated to get 1,000 sales on the average price product being $77, and company revenue at 30%, it will be $27 in profit. Cost of revenue, cost of production and manufacturing will be $50, and the gross profit over a year, well, at the end of the year, will be $27,000. Exceeding over into the next year, we'll now have a gross profit of $67,500, and so forth into the $135,000 mark. What I'll be asking for today is $270,000 with 20% shares to the investors. The $270,000 will actually cover startup costs, rent and utilities, staff and salary coverage, at least over the case of 6 months before the business actually starts to turn over a profit. This is actually just my presentation. I'd like to just go over a couple of things to just remind you, and it's nothing too long or drawn up, but it's always tough for quality, tough for longevity, tough for culture. And thank you for having me here tonight.
Thank you.
Coming up next on Let's Do This.
You started checking out the cost of rental.
Yeah, what I would actually need is just only 10 feet by 10 feet.
10 by 10?
Yeah.
So that's
For a
like
store?
a small bedroom.
Yeah, for a
size.
small, it's a small store.
Mr. Herbert,
Hey.
this was a very different presentation, but really good. I think I can speak for the others to say that it piqued our interest. It's not something that we see, that we have seen, already. I have a few questions. Well, first of all, let me say that everyone can appreciate having something personalized, something unique that they can relate to. You mentioned the numbers in September. If you can go back to that slide, please.
No problem.
So basically, you're starting off with 1,000 customers.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that number? Because that's important.
In terms of, it's actually what I decided to do was, when I came up with the idea, when I came up with the thought of the business, I started to draft up some of these concepts, some of the designs that were featured before, actually certain things that I sketched out, and I just went to potential buyers and friends, colleagues, family members, just and so forth, and see who might actually be interested, who might actually want to. And increasing, like, to my shock or to my disbelief, there were so many people who are actually interested to buy right on the fly. And that was only just dealing with the locals. And the location of the business is actually going to be in Port Zante. Yeah, so it's going to have that instant traffic of visitors coming in daily.
You mentioned Port Zante.
Yeah.
And I think the location is ideal. But I'm thinking now, it's a startup company. You started checking out the cost of rental?
Yes. At this point in time, there were 2 spots I checked previously where Digital used to be operating. There's one available.
Is that upstairs?
Yeah.
Upstairs.
No.
The one was
Oh,
with the ice cream.
Upstairs with
Okay.
retail. So,
Yeah, with the ice cream.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's too much stairs. We ain't trying to do that. But I've found right now between the range of 3,005 to 4,100.
EC or US?
4,100 was actually US, 3,005 I found for EC. But that was much smaller, but the footprint, the size of the footprint was enough to operate the business
Yeah,
smoothly and
because that was my
efficiently.
other question, like how much space do you actually need to operate?
In maximum, what I would actually need is just only 10 feet by 10 feet, but the business can actually have an efficient workflow with less than that, something more
10,
along.
10 by 10?
Yeah,
So that's
For a
like
store?
a small bedroom.
yeah, for a
size.
small, it's a small. For the rug tufting, you're actually capable because it's actually operated in a gun. Don't worry, no violence. It's just a gun that runs the yarn through and then it allows you at rapid fire to punch through as opposed to the traditional needle. And with that, let's say this was the material here next to your right, I would be able to fill out that full piece. That would take me 2 days to complete. In 4 by 4 squares now, 4 feet by 4 feet, I would be able to knock out a piece in 3 hours.
So how is cruise tourism your primary market?
Because most of the artworks that are going to be targeted towards the tourists now are not going to be custom. They're going to be pre-ready templates designed and illustrated by myself that are going to actually be pre-made before that, so you'll be able to walk
Representing cultural.
Yes,
So you have several
historical
designs
facts.
they can choose from, basically.
Yeah, and they'll be seasonal. They'll be turn-based depending on the seasons. What will be done in-house on the spot, though, are going to be some of the t-shirts, because what we're going to have actually certain human interactive templates where, let's say, there's a monkey drinking a Carib beer and there's a hole cut out that you can put your head to, and then I'll be able to produce that for you on a shirt that you can take that with. The turnaround time for that, having all equipment and material pre-set up in the morning, let's say 45 minutes before store actually opens, it'll only take between 10 to 15 minutes maximum, considering the time a tourist may have spending inside of the store.
Right.
But there will also be a lot of available pre-made shirts that's going to be available as well, but in terms of catering towards those specific needs, something that they want a little more value to, something they can walk away with, that's something that's going to take 10 to 15 minutes.
Coming up on Let's Do This.
Amazon is hardly the place to shop for anyone who's looking to make money on a product and turn it over.
High quality product. Right? Price and quality go in 2 different directions. So you can't be tough for quality, tough for there, and then be tough for $2. I know those patches are quite popular for tourists. But I also know that the tourist's average revenue spent on a souvenir is somewhere around 5 to 10 US on a souvenir.
Yeah.
And then I note your minimum cost per product being $77.
Well, that's true, but I was mainly thinking something more along the lines that when I based that price, that was something along the lines for the rug, that would be 3.5 feet square t-shirt. With the patches now, the beauty of the patches, I'm capable of fitting roughly close to 10 to 20 patches into one 3 foot by feet, one 3.5 foot square. I'm capable of fitting between 10 to 20 patches depending on their varying sizes and unique shapes. So it allows me to actually be able to fill out an entire square with those multiple patches, and then I'll be able to divide those patches, produce like the actual 77.
I think your t-shirt business is going to be the one that's going to bring the volume and the real profit.
T-shirts and patches, actually. That's
Yeah,
big.
and then the rug is an add-on that you offer, of course.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket on the rugs. I think the t-shirts, every tourist who goes anywhere, whether you are the tourist traveling or myself or tourists coming in, everybody wants a t-shirt from that place that they go to. Some people collect magnets for their fridges, some people might do patches, some people do. A t-shirt is like a no-brainer, right? Or a guy wants a cap. You could get into the tough logo, you could do the cap thing.
Yes, I'll be able
but
to burn that.
those are, where I think you will find that the bread and butter business, the turnover, and then you add the rug.
Have you considered, instead of having one storefront with all your souvenirs and grab-and-go items, have you considered being a supplier to many different stores? Do you think that...
I actually did think about that.
You have a nice novelty artisan item here. You speak the language of an artisan. You're not looking, you're looking to create an artist product.
Authenticity.
An authenticity and a high quality product. Right? Price and quality go in two different directions. So you can't be tough for quality, tough for thing, and then be tough for $2 screen printing. These patches and things are really cool. Like I've bought these patches when I travel. I think they make really good memorabilia, super good souvenirs. The gun is inexpensive. It's $350. Willing to make that investment with you in the gun. And why don't you start by creating some of the patches and going around to some of the stores and offering them a local souvenir alternative for them to sell. Right? That's huge. I mean, look, when I go into a store when I'm traveling, the first thing I look for is a locally made, locally crafted souvenir if I am buying a souvenir. And I never buy a souvenir. I'm not in that market. But if I am, I want to make sure that it is actually a souvenir of the place and not of China.
It gotta say St. Kitts. It just don't, you have to make sure.
I think you can get. I think with your product, if I haven't seen your background is in digital art, as you said, you're a graphic designer. I haven't seen what exactly your mock-ups for your souvenir patches.
In terms of the concepts?
Yeah, I don't know what they look like. But I'm sure if they look good and they represent the sights and scenes of what people see when they're in St. Kitts and are catchy and they're inexpensive. I mean, what is the cost of one of the patches?
And for one of the patches, in all honesty, the patches really can fall between the bracket, especially from just using one color yarn. One color yarn and maybe just 2 dots for, let's say, if it's a smiley face that says I love St. Kitts, something along that lines. It really, for cost, it only cost me roughly about $1.50 in terms of.
Are we getting to good detail though in that?
Small, yeah, very small, good details.
You get good detail?
Definitely.
Yeah. I could buy you a tufting gun and help you get into some stores.
I really appreciate it.
But you should listen to what the others, they might have a
possibly on the material side.
I appreciate that, honestly. Let's do it then.
So,
3-way deal.
1, 3, 3. We said
3, 2, 1.
Let's do this. It's this. Which one?
This.
So thank you so much for coming and showing this to us. Your passion shines through, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure being here.
Right.
Just learning. All right, thanks.
All right.
Nice to meet you.
Thank
I ain't
you.
gonna walk out yet, though.
All right, good.
Nice to meet you.
All right, cool, man.
Thank you.
So he's put way too much into that to not have a capital asset that costs $350 to get him started. So I really felt it was important to help him. He was clearly passionate about what he was doing, and the startup costs really of getting him to be able to create a cool patch that could go on shirts or caps or even like beach bags, I think has like good branding potential. If you get a good brand kind of tufted I figure it would work well on things, and I think he could actually build a premium band as opposed to doing what some of the others suggested, which is to sell $5 and $10 t-shirts. I think it's something that like we as locals could resonate with, like cool hat, and like a nice logo, and we could do something cool with it. But I really felt it was important to get that tufting gun in his hand, and that's why I did it.
I'm really excited to work with Mr. Herbert. His presentation was on point. It was interesting, so it really piqued my interest. And I believe that we can really go a long way with this product, Tough.
Well, you know, the thing about it is that there is a time and a place where you know that something is definitely not within your sphere of competence, and it doesn't make sense, you know, fudging it.
I felt inspired. I think he has a great idea to take our historical sites and our, areas that are dear to us or special, to impose them onto a product that tourists can take home, right? The rugs, I think, going to be a bit heavy for travel, and it's going to be restrictive in terms of turning over the kind of volume he's going to want to sell. Hence, I think the t-shirt business is going to be obviously the volume.
Creatives like DeAndre, you use really visual tools and you have them play to their strengths, right? So their strength is the visual, their strength is the experience, their strength is the expression. And so instead of trying to, wean that out so that it's really this stiff business type of experience, you want them to keep that flavor, because it is that flavor and that artistry that really give them the competitive edge.
Now that the pitch is over, I actually feel quite relieved. It wasn't as bad as I thought. It was a real great learning experience. I got to meet some great investors, and I was capable of learning a lot from them. Now that I've acquired the investments for Tough, the only thing that's left for me to do is actually get started and be able to just continue the journey and see exactly how far this thing can go.
What does it mean? Sphinx, is it?
Sphinx.
Sphinx.
Yes. I know the meaning, and it's not TV worthy.
I'm saying to you, there's a lot of competition in the market here.
There actually isn't.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
You are one of two of the bright spots in Antigua. Then if the spot is so bright, why leave it and go to a green field?
Next week on Let's Do This.
What does it mean? Sphinx, is it?
Sphinx.
Sphinx.
Yes. I know the meaning, and it's not TV worthy.
I'm saying to you, there's a lot of competition in the market here.
There actually isn't.
Wow. Oh, okay.
You are one of two of the bright spots in Antigua. Then if the spot is so bright, why leave it and go to a green field?